now with us?
Yes, sir. How y'all doing?
Good, good, good. And you're coming across clear. Okay, Jeremy, I see you joined us.
Yes, how are you?
Good, good. I show Viviana.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, Tom. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
And we are streaming live on YouTube right now.
Okay. We'll give a few more minutes here for others to log on here with us. I show Matt's with us. Thank you again, Matt, for joining us today.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Jeff.
And I show Sharon's just joined us. Welcome, Sharon.
Hey, Mark. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, welcome. So Sharon, are you still down in Mexico?
Hear me? No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Yeah.
home. I'm in Phoenix now, so yeah.
Okay.
It's so weird how people can be anywhere. I was talking to somebody who works for the county yesterday, and just having a conversation about work stuff, and I say, "Oh, what's that sound in the background?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, we rented like a beach house in Malibu." I'm like, "What? All right then."
Nice.
So cool. Yeah. I was like, I guess my invitation got lost in the mail. All right.
You're really not in the mountains back there?
Oh, I wish. Yeah, these are the mountains where my mom grew up. So yeah, it'd be nice to be back in northern Italy.
Beautiful. Oh,
Thank
beautiful.
We also have 4 attendees joining us at the moment too. So. Hey, Mark, for some reason on my screen, it popped up a Zoom working from home, learn more. How do I get back?
I'm not quite sure. It says Zoom working from home, learn more, like an ad. Is there any way to click out of it, or?
Zoom cloud meetings. Okay. I want to join a meeting. I don't know why it's having me go back in.
All right. Guess we will see Tom back in a minute.
I'm back in there. Not sure what happened, but wanted me to join another meeting for some reason. Okay. Let's do a double check here. Okay, I got Bud on here.
Yep.
We got Kat on there.
Hi,
Hey, good morning. Welcome.
thank you.
Okay, I think let's see, we're missing two, so why don't we go ahead and get started here since running a little bit late already. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Again, welcome everyone. Not only the committee members, we have some county representatives here, appreciate joining, as well as we have some residents from within Munds Park that have joined us. As Essler put it out here, here's the agenda that we shared. As a reminder, again, this meeting is being streamed through Zoom. Any of the participants joining us, feel free to put any of your questions to us, and we'll try to get to as many as we can during the meeting itself. There's also the link to the Coconino County.az.gov/Munds Park Barn website for information. You can also email us through the Munds Park Barn at gmail.com and try to answer those questions or concerns that come through there. I think we're up to date on all the emails that have come through and responding back to the various residents. Again, just want to restate the purpose and objective of the committee was working together with the Coconino County Public Works staff to lead a community-driven process to finding a location for a potential public works equipment barn for Munds Park. Appreciate everyone's time and efforts over the last several months in working on that objective. Now, for today, the objective of today's meeting is to see if we can finalize a ranking for the identified potential sites that we have. That's 8 different sites that we've been reviewing, and be able to make a recommendation to Matt Ryan and to Lucinda Andriani as to what we've come up with as a committee. So any comments to that before I move forward? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Okay, to begin with here, we wanted to review the high-level aerial map of the various locations that we've identified so far. And I think Essler's going to help us here. There we go. Now, so if you remember this map, this is the one where we've identified the different locations under consideration. You will note that the 240 was taken off of the map without consideration, and that was helped by Matt McGraw, who was kind enough to give us additional information on that. So again, what we're looking at these 9 different locations. Now, if I may make with this high aerial map, make a few comments out there. The rest area, there was 3 sites over there that off of the 9469S by the ADOT truck stop. That road is locked out at the Munds Ranch Road as the roadway goes over private property. And we received that note from the Forest Service, as well as I know several of you made a trip through there as well to check out those sites. But that road is locked out by being private property by the owners of that property. The EF locations, and that's the ones on, again, on the west side towards the south of Ages, if you're familiar there. That EF location would require some road enhancements over there, including building a crossover to that drainage that comes across there, which is would be a pretty good project in itself. That F location there, the furthest one, would require landowner approval to access it, because again, the roadway would have to go over private property. And some other information given is over at the Willard Springs, as well as all the forest sites, would require special use permit from the Forest Service if we were to consider any of those locations. So again, just additional information that's been shared with us. So any comments or additional thoughts you'd like to share? Okay. I think this one does a pretty good job too, just showing that on the west side and the drainage there, as well as access to private property that's been suggested, as well as the site there on the Forest Service.
Tom?
Yes.
The gentleman that owns that property down there is a little bit of a stinker. The sanitation department's been trying to work with him for years, and he's very, very difficult to work with down there on the south end. Just FYI.
Yeah, now he has, and Essler or Jeff might be able to comment on it. He has expressed interest in providing something there, but I'm not sure of all the details with that, whether any dollars or cents or anything like that's been provided.
Okay.
Yeah, Tom and Gail, you are correct. We've had a couple of conversations with that property owner, and he's interested in exploring some arrangement, but we have not delved into the details. That crossing would need to be upgraded some in order to support the flood and bring that area out of that. Out of the 100-year flood. I think it's currently at the 25-year flood event. So that's the challenge there. But we've had some good conversations with that owner, and he's open to opportunities. But we haven't taken that conversation in any further detail or any further at this point.
This is Everett. I'm not clear which is the commercial site that's right before the forest entrance. Is that commercial site owned by the same person, or is that a different person proposing the commercial bond site?
For clarity, Everett, which are you talking?
The Forest Service site. Yeah, the Forest Service site south of Agee's that you have to go through private land.
Oh, okay.
Does it also go through the proposed commercial site?
That is owned by the same owner, Everett.
Okay, so that's good. Okay, so what you're saying is the person who's proposing to the county a commercial site would have to give access through that site for the Forest Service move forward.
Correct.
If I can weigh in.
He has the private parcel there is his. And then if we did go with the Forest Service site adjacent to the APS substation, then they would need permission from him to go through his property.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well, Wes.
Yeah, that's correct. And then we discussed with the owner of the APS substation, they have obviously access, but that's an exclusive access for APS. So we would, in fact, need to secure access from the owner.
Yeah, and APS also uses access off of the 17. There is a gate there that they go through too.
Okay, any more thoughts, comments, questions regarding just the high-level view of the different
Hey, Tom, this is Dick, can I
Yes, Dick.
clarify something? You're talking about the private parcel number D Delta 17768 Fairway. That's not the same owner as the F parcel on the west side. And I heard someone say that they were the same individual, but it's not. It's different private property. The one that's behind the former Woody's gas station is a different owner than the one that's over on the west side down toward the south, where we have site number E and site number F being on the forest. Just to clarify that, okay? I'll go to moot.
This is Everett. Right now behind Woody's, they've started to clear or upgrade that land. Dick, would you know why they're doing that?
No, Everett, I do not know anything about why they're doing that.
Okay, it was interesting that that is being cleared, whether they were actually going to build a barn there or something.
Now, Everett, this is Gail. So the Schuster family, they're doing their phase 4 of the RV park. And they're that was all millings from the highway work a year and a half ago down on 17 south of here. They brought all the millings up and put on that property. And now they're taking those millings, all that dirt and millings, and they're putting it over for the phase 4 in the RV park. So that's where that stuff is going. They're just moving it from one piece of land to the other piece of land.
They're also putting millings on the D parcel there by the sanitation district behind Woody's. The lot was graded and they are now putting millings down on that lot where they were going to possibly build the leased barn.
Yeah, Wes and Gail, that's exactly what I was saying. Was it looks like they're preparing that fairway site for some type of construction or storage. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, they might be working on something, but I know a lot of it was removed and taken over to phase 4. So I don't know what their plans are. Maybe they're just getting it ready for a possible lease or build for somebody, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and move on then? What I wanted to do is discuss the matrix that I sent out to everyone. I want to first thank all of you that provided your rankings for each of the various elements. What I did is I took those rankings of yours and in essence averaged them for each partial under each one of the elements there. So what you have here is the averages of those of your input as you measured the use our ranking methodology to kind of measure each one of those elements. Did not do any weighting of the elements. And the main reason doing that is my intentions were we would discuss and define which elements were the most important to us. But at least from an averaging of your input, that gives you what everyone had that had submitted, what it came out to be for each one of those. So let's go over to the furthest to the right. Let's see. Is the example on the forest one. I know there was a question that came up there, you know, relative to any of those locations that were located on the forest. Should we select any of those that recognize that a special use permit is required for any one of those? And it would have to be submitted again to the county would have to submit that to the Forestry Service. And if in the note that Matt McGrath shared with us, you know, it said the Forest Service has specific legal and policy requirements for any facilities like those located off or located on the forest, and that they would like to see a location off the forest if at all possible. However, if that's shown impractical, they can pursue on-forest options. So don't want to rule any of those out, but at least letting everyone know what the requirements would be for moving forward with any potential site that would be located on the forest. Going back, what I was saying is that not having weighted those, wanted to hear from the group here what we think would be the most important elements that we should be considering. And I think one of the top of the list, based on the information received back from you, the cost element has to be one of the major considerations for whatever solution, potential site that we recommend. Do we have agreement with that?
Yes, this is absolutely. And that's only a figure that can be developed by the county. Obviously, we would not be able to determine the cost.
Yeah,
I agree. This is Neil. Yep.
And the intention there was, we were to recommend some potential sites. We weren't given the charter to go digging into all these financials and stuff with it, because that really has to be a county activity. So that's why in the methodology we used there is just trying to we were given a number of what the initial budget was of 500 million, and then we tried to break it up, would be a little bit higher than that or even substantially higher. And that was our intentions there.
You mean 500,000? Tom, you said 500 million. I think you meant 1,000.
500,000, thank you. Half a million.
If it's 500 million, we'll go anywhere we want.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. So other elements that you folks would have thoughts on and how we should prioritize any of the other items that we look at.
Well, the floodplain.
This is Dick, and I'm.
Yeah, go ahead, Dick.
I'm suggesting that number 3, safety, is really the only reason we're even doing this talk, is that the idea the county wants to keep those road graders off of I-17 when they have to move into Munds Park. So I would say safety, which is your number 3 item, would be very, very important.
Okay. I received a comment here from one of the folks listing that they're saying environment and safety should be a major item for within the community. Now at least I can speak for myself, as we were looking at these, any potential site that is selected, the county would have to go through an environmental study with it. But to that individual making the point is that I think we've been trying to look at, in some sense, to what the community was saying. Example.
Is that true for commercial? If it's a commercial site, would the county have to go through some type of environmental look at?
Can someone from the county help me on that?
So I think if it is, like, there is a difference between like what a private property is entitled to be developed as, and the requirements would go through our community development process, and that's what regulates private property. On the forest, there is a requirement, Matt McGrath had elaborated. If there is a special use permit, there are like environmental assessments that need to happen that are triggered by the National Environmental Act. So those are two different ways of looking at that. Like, one is a requirement because it is national forest land, and the private properties would have to be going through the community development process and making sure that the entitlements are correct. So if something is zoned as residential, it can't have a private or a commercial property, and all of those code requirements that are triggered as consequence. So does that help?
Well, the only question is if we go way back, it appeared that there was no environmental requirement for the hillside, that for some reason it was under the radar based on its size, that an environmental impact study was not required. Am I wrong on that?
So we were in the process of doing what is called a NEPA survey on that site, and that was one of the trigger points that happened that also served as getting feedback from the community and stopped that process.
Yeah, this is Kat. I just want to I mean, I believe we all know this and we're all trying to stay away from this. But I guess, just saying it out loud, just make sure that everyone, even who's listening can hear. The biggest thing that we're trying to really do also is just make sure that we're staying away. We're going to, from a forest around neighborhoods and making sure that's a kind of a priority. So.
I would agree with that, Kat. I mean, we heard that loud and clear from the community.
Yeah.
And that's where we had there, the community view of sheds.
Yeah.
Did not want to have it next, did not want to have the facility next to a home.
Yeah.
Or even in the view of that. So
exactly.
I
So I just wanted to just say it out loud. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's where I think if you look at the parcels by the ADOT rest area, they were all given higher marks there, meaning it's away from the community.
Yep, absolutely.
Tom, the one concern that I've always had, and I've addressed this with Mark and Matt, is that Coconino County has no requirement to notify residents of anything they're going to do. Most every other county does. So my concern is that if it was a forest site, we know that notification has to take place from the Forest Service. But if it's a commercial site, then it's my understanding that the county is not required to notify any residents that would be affected by anything that was being built on that site. Am I correct on that, or am I wrong?
Essler, my understanding is that, and I'll use the example of the, the Martino's restaurant they put in. They had to send out a letter to the surrounding community, homes there, letting them know of that commercial property going in. So there is, I don't know the exact process, but I do know that there's a notification that is required.
That was a zoning change. That was brought forth because they were changing the zoning from residential to commercial. What I'm saying, if it's already a commercial site and no zoning change, then I believe the county can go in and actually put something in without any notification. Is that correct?
But so again, Everett, I think that's the difference between like private property has certain entitlements, and only if there is a change in the prescribed use from residential to commercial, there's a notification process. So again, I think it's a matter of like I believe it is like it has to do with the entitlements that different properties have and the use for that property. So I guess that's like the only thing I can think of as it relates to like, is there a notification process that a private property owner that wants to build something and lease it to the county or lease it to the private sector or another public entity? That's a decision that goes through the community development, and it's a decision based on like that final use for that facility and that property.
So no notification is required unless there's a zoning change.
I believe, yes, I believe that's the case, but we're not in in that junction here. Like we're trying to see if of the identified 9 sites that this committee has done, if there's like a recommendation to be made about sites to be considered in future for development of an equipment park.
Hey, Tom, this is Bud. Real quick question. So the numbers that are in the boxes, like under safety, where you see parcels A, B, and C are between 3 and 4,
Yes.
is that the higher the number more desirable, or how does that work out?
Yeah, based on the ranking methodology, we said that 1 was of great concern, 5 was least concern.
Okay, so it's a concern because those top 3 definitely have a lot of travel on I-17. So the higher the number, then the more concern that there is for that particular category.
Should they have to go down 17?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah, but
I
what,
guess my thought being is we're looking at
the safety, those higher numbers means there's less problem with safety because they were predicated on using the Munds Ranch Road and extension into the Forest Service. Now, if we can't do that, then because that was never a concern. Those 3 sites were never meant to be used to go on I-17. The whole idea is to keep the road graders off of I-17. That's why you have those high numbers. Like, for instance, parcel D, the behind Woody's has a 5 because that's the least impact on safety.
Okay.
So it's the other way around. Those high numbers mean there's little impact on safety because we were not going to use I-17 to get from those locations into Munds Park.
Okay, thank you. I just had heard earlier that we aren't going to be able to use the private road to get access for that though. So I was not sure how that all played into it.
to that point.
Yeah, Bud, I don't think anybody's reached out to NBC Properties yet to see if they could get permission to access a building off of that road.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's something that the county or somebody needs to do is contact NBC Properties to see if they're willing to allow access.
Okay, great. Thanks, Wes.
Yeah, and that's how I guess we were all premising that, and we weren't clear on that, is that for all the folks that had went and reviewed that site location, as Dick said, was looking at using the forestry road to access it and coming into the Munds Ranch Road. And to Wes's point, yeah, discussions with the property owners would have to take place if that was to any one of those locations were to come about. Okay, how about other thoughts, items relative to the matrix? Okay, so what we've got here and what's highlighted is that really the 3 elements that we need to look at is that from a safety, the community view of the sheds and the cost are really the key elements that we want to use in prioritizing any potential site recommendations to the county.
You know, real quick on that as well, the last category on forest, I think we've heard a lot of feedback from the community on any issues with something being on the forest, as far as environmental, as far as potential fire hazards or whatever the case may be. So that might be something that we keep in it as a point of interest, just because there has been a lot of feedback on that.
Right. Okay, any other comment? Okay. Again, my intention here is to have the committee prioritize, these sites and be able to make some sort of a recommendation from these sites as as potential sites for to recommend to the county. Does anyone like to make a stab from it from our conversation so far?
Why don't we start with tallying the points, the numbers, and seeing where they fall. I haven't done that yet, so I don't know how it's going to work out. But perhaps if we look at the rankings in the highlighted columns and tally those, and then if we end up with a tie or we end up with rankings that are too close, we can use the other columns to maybe break a tie or help guide us on what would be the best options.
So totaling each one of these. I'm looking to Essler here to. I think he's looking to give us a hand here with this.
So meaning all four of them, like all the four categories, Walt? Sorry,
yes. Yes. It might be worthwhile to tally all of the columns, but since we've identified those as the priorities, it might be interesting to see where we are with those first.
Well,
so that's, do you see the total calculation for all those four categories?
Yes.
Okay. So there's like a natural, I mean, I don't know, like if there is like a natural grouping of sites.
And they all have something in common. They're near the ADOT rest area, which is interesting. I think looking at it, we've all identified that as being away from the community and being no impact on residential. Depending on where it is, there may be an impact on the forest, but certainly access. The issue is we've already talked about access not being able to be granted, but perhaps that's something that the county can factor in, is getting an easement or something from the private property owner to get the access. But I think you're seeing a natural three of them that are coming to the top naturally, just because they satisfy a lot of the criteria that we've all had issues with, both on the committee and in the community.
Well, basically, let me suggest then, instead of just going with one, that because these are high and to your point, have been recognized by many people in the community, that we just make the recommendation as this group as a potential site. Again, as you point out, that of course we're going to have to be work done on far as access goes, but of all the sites, that looks like the area that we should be focused on and recommending as potentials.
You know, I don't know if we talked about this early on or not, but on my larger computer screen, I'm looking at the aerial and I'm looking at the county website showing the parcels. Is there a possibility of having a location that maybe partially or fully on the forest adjacent to the rest area, but has access to the ramp, so that an employee from the county would be able to come from Flagstaff, get off at the rest area ramp, which has been mothballed except for this past year. And it looks like there's a clearing that I don't know why it's there. And of course, sitting here looking at a two-dimensional map, I don't know what the grade looks like, but perhaps there's a way to get access to the ramp that enters the freeway. And it would be a very short ride on the freeway then to get off at 322. And again, I don't know if that's an option, but if we put forward these three as rising to the top of our ranking, then perhaps the county can look at partnering with the state and maybe getting access to the ramps.
Hey, Walt, on entering the park, that's a great idea. That would be the best way. But to get back to the facility, you would have to travel all the way up to Willard Springs and then travel back down southbound to park the equipment.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think that's a trade-off. Access to the community is really quick, and once they get done with their work for the day, it's a longer trip to go to Willard and make a U-turn. But I think it's even a better option as far as traveling on the freeway than going down to Schnebly to Antelope.
I did note that there is a gate there at the rest area where you could get access there, provided agreement with ADOT in the forest there. But there is a gate there now.
Again, I was just thinking if we put those forward as options,
yes,
then in addition to getting an easement to have access to the forest road, which I think is a great idea, having access to the ramps may work as well, and it might be super easy.
Okay. Well, I think what we're bringing up, there's a bit of work that has to be done to make this recommendation work. But again, if we're just trying to recommend a potential site, recognizing there's work to be done. But I think for what we've heard from the community, this is the least disruptive to the community in going with this solution, as opposed to some of the other ones that were potentially looked at.
I agree.
Okay. Well, as we're talking about grouping these sites as the solution, what we could do as well as, okay, we have this one group as a potential site that we recommend, and then there seems to be some other natural groupings out there that we could put forward, meaning say D and E is another group put forward as a second option. And we may have to put that F location in with the two private partials, only because still have to go through private land with it. So we could possibly say, okay, A, B, and C is our recommended potential, one of those potential sites. Next grouping could be the private partials. And of course, the last ones are the existing sites out there of Antelope and Willard Springs. So kind of prioritize them in that order, and at least given the county some perspective as how we were looking at them and ranking them overall. Your thoughts?
I think it's a good idea, Tom. This is Gail.
Yeah, this is Dick. I would agree that exactly with that. And I don't think we can really need to really rule out A, B, and C, because it's very possible that there will be a way to get the access across the private land. And if we do that, those are really the best, in my opinion.
Okay.
I agree. Schuster's may work with us on that. You never know.
Yeah, I had in my notes here that there was possible improvements to the road that were needed based on floodplain for A, B, and C. Is that something that I wrote down erroneously, or are there still improvements that would need to be made to that road?
That's just a dirt road as far as I know from what I've seen of it. So there probably would have to be possibly some improvements.
And don't forget, we're talking about winter time when these road graders would be using those roads, and you would not be having any flooding. In the summertime when we have flooding, those road graders will not be in that barn. They'll be out elsewhere in the county.
True.
And the other thing too is that I think the residents there in the RV park and even the expansion out there, I mean, they're not here in the wintertime. It's all closed. So
that's correct.
The impact to them, I would expect to be minimal.
Yes.
Again, our focus is on the winter months.
It's absolutely on the winter months. The summertime, if there's pothole repairs, things like that, it's not an issue for them to come down the highway if they need to, because the main purpose of staying off I-17 in the winter is the danger and the chains and things like that. So summertime shouldn't be an issue at all with this.
I would agree with Gail. Yes.
Okay, well then
there is a
pardon?
Tom, there is a wash crossing on that road. You can see in the Google Earth. I don't know what the 100-year event threshold is for that bridge, but there is a wash that would need to be crossed. So I'm not sure if that would need to be improved. And winter we still get flooding, especially a rain on snow event. So it doesn't exclude the fact we might have that issue in the winter. So that where your cursor is, there is a bridge there. So what's the status of that relative to the floodplain? I don't know, but there is some potential that could be an impediment.
Okay.
In the wintertime, water does flow up over that bridge. When you have a good snow with a rain to follow, when we get the extra water runoff, water does flow over that bridge and all of the bridges through that area. So that area would need some dredging to maybe make that deeper through that area, or possibly even elevating that bridge.
Okay, so again, that's something the county would have to look into, the feasibility of our recommendation. Okay. Okay, let me do this here. Let me try to draft for the committee a recommendation of what we've come up here with, and we of course share with you for comments, edits, and so forth. But in summary, wanting to go ahead and prioritize these different locations, putting into 3 different groups, with the top group there of the parcels located next to the ADOT rest area as our solution.
I think that's a great idea, Tom. That's good.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Let me ask Essler to share with you, because we're talking about, before anything is going to be done here, we're talking 3 to 5 years out, right? And so we've got an interim. We need to look at some interim solutions here that can help the county. And I'm going to let Essler have a discussion, share with you some of the things that the county are working at as an interim that can get us from here to there. So Essler, would you share?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Tom. I think through this process has been like very good and informative for us at the county too, because other opportunities have come up in terms of like people wanting to like offer options and offer the opportunity to like work with the county about like a potential staging of the equipment. And we have talked with Lee Krosnetsky with the Pinewood Sanitary District, and we're going to be meeting with him to potentially stage our equipment within their property in Munds Park. So there's a lot of potential there to address this as in the short term and increase the safety and reliability and access for the equipment to the park. We used to we need to work those details out, and we at one point in time we used to use their facility to stage our equipment. So this would be kind of like visiting that relationship. They have shared with us that it would be a short term, but hopefully it is a solution that gets us more, increased reliability and safety and closer to our need and meeting that. So I really appreciate, because again, this has been the work of this committee that have spurred those conversations to be reignited in a way. And it's been very helpful. And we'll keep everyone posted on how that conversation goes early next week.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, that's been a recent development that's like I said, can really help us get through between from here to when, and if we have an equipment barn for Munds Park. Okay, so what like I said, what I'll do is draft a letter to email to Matt Ryan by the committee. I'll share with all of you to please make any updates with it. In addition, I think what we want to do too is request that, if we're sending to Matt Ryan, is that the county letter to a letter from the county be posted in the Pinewood News on the committee's recommendation. Is there any other communications that you would like to see?
Tom, Lee probably would put a note in with the sanitary bills, the sanitation department bills. If he was asked to do so, if he had the information, he's very good about communicating with the community in that way. So it could always be slipped in with the bills.
Okay, good add to help get, since that letter goes to all the homeowners in Munds Park.
And I think it would be, also another suggestion or avenue would be that we do send out a communication from the committee and also the public works and the county that goes to, just like it did initially, like that it goes to all the residents, regardless whether they have, like a connection with the sanitary district or not, and the billing with them. Just to close that loop and to notify everyone, I think, of both of the processes as well as the outcome and the recommendation as a suggestion. So we'll be more than willing to help with that part as well.
We can also do a paid push on Facebook. We can put your article in the Pinewood News. We can put it on the blog of what is right now Munds Park Today, and then we can push it out through Facebook and do a paid push. It only costs like $10, and we'll pay for it.
I'm sure we'd chip in.
That's okay. I think we can handle it.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? Well, to the committee members, I want to thank all of you for the months of effort here working on this. At least we have come up with, I believe, meeting the charter that we were given of suggesting a potential site. And I know your time and effort put into it is much appreciated, all of you. Hopefully we can calm down the community would be a bit more at ease in what we're proposing and going forward. And again, put the community at ease. I want to also wish all of you a very happy holiday, all the best, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a very happy New Year to all of you. Thank you again.
And to you.
You too, Tom.
Thank
Thank you.
you,
Merry
Tom.
Christmas, everyone. Happy New Year's.
Bye, y'all.
Happy holidays.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.